inform you on today's child labor across not only the United States but across the entire world. So how many of you spent your childhood in sweatshops and being bought and sold? None of us? Yeah, it's kind of surprising. Most of us in this room grew up worrying about what toys we were going to play with that day and what kind of ice cream we enjoyed. But there's children all across the world right now that are working in sweatshops and being bought and sold and are victims of child trafficking. So I think that's an important issue that doesn't get talked about across the news. So I'm going to try to inform you a little bit about that today. So in high school, I learned about Kailash Satyarthi. He was the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize winner. He has started, which I'll get into at the end of this presentation, but he has started many groups and organizations to try to end and reduce child labor across the world. There are millions of children infected. I'll get into the numbers also, but their lifestyles are altered, and at the end of the day, their health is at risk. And while there are many concerns throughout the world today, I think child labor is among most of the important issues that take place, and especially one of the most important and biggest issues that don't get talked about in the news and social media and stuff like that. So the first point I have is, according to Kailash Satyarthi in his article, What Are We Waiting For? Sustainable Societies Begin with Children, which was published on unicef.org, dated in 2018, states that most recent data show that there are still 150 million child laborers in the world today. I know this is from 1938, but I just kind of wanted to give a visual on how many children that actually is. I know this is 80 years ago, but New York has a population of a little over 13 million, so all of New York times 25 times. Just to insight, last year there was 74 million children in the United States, so double the amount of children in the United States are child laborers across the world today. I think that's a lot more child suppression than we would ever guess or realize. So it was mind-blowing for me. I'm sure you guys are not aware of that. Maybe you were, but I think it's really surprising for most of us, as Americans especially. Second point, according to antislavery.org, in their article, What is Child Slavery? Anti-Slavery International, dated July 15th of 2020, an estimated 10 million children alone around the world are basically modern slaves. So these are the children that are bought and sold, do not have families, definitely do not get paid for what they do. This picture is a group of factory workers, and I believe it was Bangladesh, during a police raid. The police will come in, they leave the child slaves alone, and they'll arrest guys that have nothing to do with the child slaves. The police do not do much about it there, so it's kind of a visual for you. That you can see they are not the healthiest or happiest looking kids in the world. The U.S. abolished slavery 155 years ago, so it kind of puts into perspective that 155 years is a long time to take care of this across the world, and there hasn't been much done about it. The second point is, according to the Women's International Network News article, India child labor, some staggering statistics. 50% of children at the Jaipur diamond polishing factory were ill because of fever, headaches, stomach problems, and skin trouble and typhoid. This is very sad and inhumane, and not an issue that I would expect that in 2020 we should still be dealing with. So this is in Africa. These are child laborers. They move bricks, build foundation and stuff like that. These kids range from, some start working at 5 years old, and I think the youngest right here, I think he was 6, and the oldest there is 7. So there was, I don't know, I doubt any of these kids are still alive today. So you can see the wound on the left there. Very sad. Like before, they not only go through these physical dangers and health hazards, they're very emotionally at risk also, as you can imagine, being a kid, waking up and having to move bricks all day long and eat portions of food if you're lucky. So Another point is, according to a group of authors writing for the Pediatric Nursing Journal, in their article, "Child Labor, Robbing Children of Their Youth," states that collectively, ailments such as tuberculosis and curved spines from squatting at wombs kill half of Pakistan's working children by age 12. Here's a little 6-year-old girl, bright and early hours of the morning. She's up moving bricks to build who knows what. So the odds are against her. Within 6 years, she'll probably be dead. It's a sad truth. But again, I think even one death is too much today for child labor, so I think there's something that we can do about this. And my last point is, according to the editors at History.com, their article, "Child Labor," dated in 2009, states, beginning in 1900, efforts to regulate or eliminate child labor became central to social reform in the United States. So as I said, for 120 years ago now, this became an idea that child labor wasn't humane or just. And today we're still having 150 million in the world. So it's still a current issue, although over 100 years ago we started focusing on this issue. And lastly, according to Kailash Satyarthi, in his article, "What Are We Waiting For? Sustainable Societies Begin with Children," again, from UNICEF.org. In September 2015, more than 200 world leaders came together to adopt a 15-year plan for sustainable development. I think it's odd that there's still more and more child labor statistics or numbers. More child laborers in the world are going up, but there are people like Kailash Satyarthi in the world, very few, but there are, fighting for this. I think it's encouraging that 200 world leaders got together just 5 years ago. They are still seeing rising numbers. So there is action sort of being taken in the world, but not enough. Child labor claims millions of victims, sickens and kills them, and not enough action has been taken. So I believe the world needs to liberate all these children, do whatever we can, and I think it begins with people like you and I. I don't think it's obviously the leaders of the world aren't going to do much, so I think you and I can make the change. Thank you.